Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cynder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits, so get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Tina Frontado, and Tina is Executive Director of St. Francis Foundation. Welcome, Tina.
Hi, Cynder. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, St. Francis Foundation. You folks have been doing such good, important work for so many years in our community.
So many years.
So I'm hoping you'll tell us all about it.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yes, almost 70 years.
70.
We have been one of the local philanthropic cornerstones for a very, very long time. We started when the hospital was operating. A group of local businessmen back in 1957 said, we need a foundation to raise money for the hospital and the hospital needs.
For St. Francis Hospital.
For St. Francis Hospital. So, from 1957 to the early 2000s, the whole time the hospital was open, during that duration, the foundation was robust. It was a, thriving, very successful organization raising money for valuable equipment and services and programs for St. Francis.
Yeah, something like 20 million or?
Well, that is our endowment now is close to 20 million, but tens of millions had been raised up until then as well.
Gosh, so your function from the very beginning was to raise money for St. Francis Hospital for all kinds of things. Then the hospital went away.
Yes, sadly. It was actually bought by Dignity Health.
Okay.
All right. So Dignity Health tried to make a go of it and didn't quite work out. So they ended up selling the property to Cottage.
Oh, yes.
And now that is where there's some residential up there. Yes. So that was part of how we accumulated the funds in our endowment, was a combination between bequests and part of the proceeds of the sale went into our endowment.
Oh, I see. Well, that's a tidy sum.
Well, and we have to give kudos to those board members at the time that really negotiated that promise. And set the guidelines going forward as a grant-making organization as we are now.
Yeah, that's so important. The role of a board member is so important. And it sounds like those board members really did right by the foundation.
And had the foresight.
Yes.
The foresight, the confidence, the collaboration to see what our community is going to need in the future and securing those funds really in perpetuity so that the foundation can give out close to $1 million a year.
So is that what, so the foundation, St. Francis Foundation, is giving out now about $1 million a year?
About $1 million a year. The lane, the focus, the giving guidelines, is around health and end of life and geriatrics care.
Health, end of life
and geriatrics care. And we have funds within our endowment that are strictly designated for some of those lanes. And then we have undesignated funds that we also use within that arena, but we have a little bit more leeway.
So you don't really engage in a lot of fundraising.
Oh, no. So a little backstory, I was actually on their board for about 6 years before I stepped into the role as director. And I've never known the foundation to do fundraising because the fundraising really halted early 2000s, if not before that.
Yeah. So those board members really, really did a great job making sure that you don't even have to go raise funds.
And they continue to do a great job. So I am the only paid staff person. Debbie Cloud was my predecessor. Yes. Everybody knows Debbie Cloud. She was with the foundation for 40 years. yeah, and she really set the pace and the tone. And we are really focused on keeping our admin and organizational costs to a very, very small amount so that we can give out as much possible to the community. And you know that the need around healthcare, end-of-life care, geriatrics care, it's huge and not diminishing.
Ooh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
So give us an example, if you would, of some of the ways that you've distributed the funds over the years.
Great, I'd love to. One of our big focuses is the parish nursing program. It's it is housed under Cottage, under Population Health, and they serve the most needy and the sickest in our community, and they meet that person where they are, be it at a church, be it in a park, be it at a community center. It's really following the St. Francis directive, really. Some of the other organizations that we support, Sarah House, Serenity House, Hospice of Santa Barbara, Doctors Without Walls, neighborhood clinics, organic soup kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So these organizations then apply for the funds, and then you are a grant-making foundation, so you decide who's going to get how much.
Right. So we have a once-a-year giving cycle. It opens April 1st.
Okay.
And our website has all that information. The application is pretty laconic, short and sweet.
Good.
Fillable PDF. Our guidelines are also listed, so it's easy to decipher if I'm in the guideline or I'm not in the guideline. You can also reach out to me, and we can flesh that out for you before you go through the granting process. And then we have a small grant-making committee, small but mighty, because you know how that is, Cynder.
Yeah.
It's a lot of reading and a lot of due diligence.
Oh boy, isn't that the truth? Yeah.
So we go through that process and then bring our slate of recommended grantees to the board for approval.
Oh, okay.
Go through that process, and then we distribute the checks.
So back to the parish nursing program. Do you know, like, let's say somebody is wanting to access some of those services. How do they contact them? How do they?
Population Health. You would go through Population Health.
And what is that now?
Population Health is through Cottage.
Oh,
so
it's a program that Cottage has.
Right, exactly.
So they would contact Cottage and say they want to talk to someone in the population?
Well, Population Health has its own website.
Oh,
so
okay.
You could Google Population Health, Cottage Hospital, and Population Health also serves like Path Point, Path of Santa Barbara.
Yeah, wow. So, so back to some of the other ones. So I'm just thinking, if somebody was watching this and they didn't know, like, what is Sarah House? Can you just tell us?
Isn't Sarah House beautiful?
Yeah.
The offering of end-of-life care. And particularly for those that might not have the resources required for other end-of-life facilities, like Serenity House. And Sarah House, I believe that there's no cost or very minimal cost. Sarah House actually began during the AIDS epidemic when young men dying of AIDS had no place to go. And Sarah House was a brainchild that everybody deserves dignity and love, and now it's open to all.
So Sarah House is an actual facility.
It's an actual facility right there on Las Positas.
And someone can apply to...
Right, so I would believe, I've never worked for Sarah House, but I'm sure that you have to meet their guidelines, but very much in the way of St. Francis, tending to the most sick and to the most needy, to the most poor.
Yeah, that was St. Francis.
Wasn't he just the end all to be all?
Yes, he's quite the example for
He really
all
is
of us.
for all of us.
Yeah. And then Serenity House, now tell me.
Serenity House is a visiting nurse and hospice care program.
Okay.
And that is up there on TV Hill. And that is another end-of-life facility. It also can be a respite facility for persons that are very ill, but maybe not yet towards the very end of their life, but their caregiver needs some time to rejuvenate, and the patient can go to Serenity House
For
a little while, get some, extra care while the caregiver is also rejuvenating and regenerating. And
that's important. Caregiving can just really,
can't it?
oh,
I mean, we are now having that conversation, and I really give kudos to Hospice of Santa Barbara, and for other leaders in the community like Jeannie West that has really brought that to the table of the stress and the strain, emotionally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, that caregiving takes.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because with caregiving, when you're doing it, you're not necessarily aware of the impacts that it's having on your being.
Oh, yeah, because you're focused on the one who's ill.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so hospice is another wonderful organization.
Hospice of Santa Barbara is another gem. I mean, I think about like how did we ever survive without Hospice of Santa Barbara?
Yes, yes. So those three, and
well, we fund about 40 organizations.
40?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So throughout, I mean, I think, if I added up all the organizations that we have funded in the last 20 years, it would probably be 70 to 80, because of course not every organization is funded again the following year. But Teddy Bear Cancer Foundation,
Of course, yes.
right?
Yes.
Ridley Tree. Any organization that is health focused, end of life focused, work around geriatrics. We fund the nursing program. There's the nursing program at Santa Barbara City College, and then also the Scholarship Foundation that gives out scholarships for nursing programs.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah.
We also fund the Diabetic Center, the Sansom Diabetes Center.
SDRI. Okay. Boy.
Food from the Heart.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
Well, that's fabulous. Wow, you guys are really... So there's a lot of due diligence to check all these applications out, isn't there?
In that, it's a lot of work, but it's really where our heart is.
Yes, I can see that. And so you're also, the St. Francis Foundation is a member of the Foundation Roundtable,
Correct.
right? And so tell us about that, how you interact with them.
We meet once a month, and I'm sure you're a little familiar with the foundation as well, and they absolutely keep their finger on the pulse of the top needs coming into our...
That is fabulous.
Yes.
So important.
So, of course, housing right now is one that is of vital importance. As you know, years past, it's been education, and so I'm really grateful for that organization, because that takes a lot of work. To stay in the know and work with other leaders and out-of-the-box thinkers on how to remedy some of these rather large issues.
Yeah, that's so great that everybody works together, all the foundations, to keep their finger on the pulse, to know, what direction to move in any given year, or time frame.
And I'm also part of a group. It's an offshoot of the Foundation Roundtable, and it's a fundamentals group that we meet also, every other month now. And we talk about everything from granting software to succession planning. Yeah, one of the things, especially with granting organizations in our community, who the majority are small, excluding Santa Barbara Foundation and the big people, it's usually just one paid staff person. So, what do you do with succession?
Yeah.
With one paid?
Right.
So that is a topic, and we're in the process now of discussing that with the board.
Wow.
So that things in perpetuity can travel forward seamlessly.
Yes. Such vision you folks have. So what's, speaking of vision, what's up next for St. Francis Foundation?
As I mentioned, we have our granting season opening April 1st.
Okay.
Again, you can go to our website to evaluate if you meet our guidelines. Reach out to me if you have questions. And Feast of the St. Francis is October 4th every year.
Every year.
Every
Same
year.
date. That's just amazing. October 4th.
Yeah, last year we had a beautiful afternoon tea.
Yes, I was there. It was wonderful.
The Mission of Santa Barbara and their adorable little courtyard back there. Wasn't that so sweet? So we're looking to do that again. We are a pretty low-key organization, but mighty in the work that we do.
Yeah. So the October 4th tea, it's just such a nice time of getting together, but also hearing, kind of update reports from everyone. And if someone is interested in attending, they can go on your website and find out about it?
Right, and contact me. I'll put you on our list. It's not a fundraiser.
Right. Yeah.
Very, very clear about that. It's really sharing the work of the foundation and sharing the message of St. Francis.
Yes.
And how all of us can do something.
Yeah. Each of us can do something.
And some of us like to do it big, some of us like to do it medium, some of us find little ways throughout our lifetime to make the world a better place.
Yes.
And that was really the message of St. Francis.
Gosh, well, you folks are doing a great job
Thank
of carrying that forward. So, Tina, we have a couple minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like our audience to know about St. Francis Foundation?
Well, I first want to thank you again for the invite.
Of course.
Helping us, I'd say, get back on people's radar a little.
Yeah.
If you are looking for a place to bequest, or if you're looking for a place for legacy giving.
Oh, good.
If the areas that we give dings your heart, reach out to me.
Great.
We are stellar stewards.
Yes, I can see that.
Of people's gifts.
Yeah, and those gifts are tax deductible because you're a 501c3?
Yeah. And this line of work, this lane, is forever evolving. And so it does take a group focus, right? To keep our eye on what is trending, what is new, where's the best place to put our funds for greatest impact. Yeah. We do that work for you. And with one person, no money is ever used for administrative costs or a donation. It all goes right back out to the community.
That is so wonderful. Gosh.
Oh, thank you.
You
Cynder.
and the board can feel so good about the work that you do. I'm sure you do already, but oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for everything you're doing and that you have done for our community for so long and that you're going to do in the future. And thanks for coming on our show to tell us all about it.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.